Hey, I'm Steven with Create a Great State and Grow Missouri, and we have the pleasure today of sitting down with Melanie Abrajano from Missouri Club for Growth. Melanie, thank you so much for taking a few minutes and sitting down and speaking with us.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely, our pleasure. So, tell us a little bit about Missouri Club for Growth. What exactly is that, and what do you guys do?
Sure. Well, the Missouri Club for Growth is a membership organization. We have thousands of members throughout the entire state of Missouri, and we work to actively lobby the legislature at the state level on issues that are important to the state to grow a good fiscal climate. So we look at issues like tax reform, regulatory reform, education reform, tort reform, those types of issues. What our primary interest in is to elect leaders that are going to go to Jefferson City, do what they say and say what they mean. So often we see elected leaders that during the campaign they make promises that they just don't keep once they get there because they think nobody's listening or watching. And we're watching and listening. We're always in Jefferson City, keeping track of what they do. And then when election time comes around, we kind of put our money where our mouth is, and we work to not only recruit candidates to run against people that maybe don't keep their promises, but then we work to support people that do and take difficult votes and do good, solid fiscal work for people. So we have a really great win record. In our last election cycle, we elected 35 out of the 37 candidates that we supported. We took out a couple incumbents that weren't fiscal conservatives and replaced them with good, solid conservatives. So it's an important organization. I'm excited to be a part of it, and we're continuing to grow. And we welcome anybody that is a fiscal conservative to look at our organization and join on up. It's actually free to join. So.
Wow. You guys stay pretty busy, it sounds like.
Yes,
yeah,
very much
that's
so.
fantastic. See, what we've been doing actually the last few months, we have been to over 40 counties. We've interviewed hundreds of people, so you're not the only one. And we've been asking a basic question, saying, hey, what do we need to do to create a great state? We've talked to college students, we've talked to business owners, we've spoken with just whoever will talk to us, whoever wants to share an idea with us, and said, what can we do to make Missouri a better place to live, to work, to raise a family, to start a small business, whatever the case might be. And so I kind of want to put that question to you today and say, what do you think? And you kind of talked about it a little bit already on what you guys are working on, but what are some specific things that you think we can be doing and that you guys are working on in Missouri to create a great state?
Sure. Well, we certainly want to see Missouri become a great state. We're certainly good, but we can be great. And one of the things that we did last legislative session that we haven't felt the impact of quite yet, but that we will coming up, is we've passed the first income tax cut in nearly 100 years. It had been nearly 100 years since we've cut our own income tax, which is outrageous to the average voter, and they should have been demanding it, and they did, which was great. This is a bill that had been proposed numerous times before. Mm-hmm. It had been voted in and gone to the governor's desk and been vetoed, and then that veto was sustained. But this past year, due to our efforts in holding people accountable and letting their constituents know when they didn't vote to override the governor, we were able to actually get a small, modest income tax cut passed for the first time in nearly 100 years. And the governor did veto it, but then we had a veto override, and the legislature did what was right and kept that tax cut in place for every Missouri family that pays taxes. Yeah. So this wasn't a game of picking winners and losers. This wasn't a game of having businesses win and individuals lose, or certain industries win and others lose. Everybody will benefit from this piece of legislation, which is fantastic. So what we can do moving forward is build upon that success. We will see that income tax cut have a very real, tangible benefit to everybody in this state, and I think we can go a little bit further and not only continue to cut the income tax, but also look at other taxes we can cut, like the corporate income tax, and make it easier for businesses to invest in the community and invest in more job creation.
Yeah.
Speaking about businesses, as a small business owner, my husband's a small business owner, and we have one employee. The regulatory burden on small businesses is obscene almost. Between the federal regulations and the state regulations and even some local regulations, it really takes a lot and a huge effort as a small business to deal with all of the regulatory burden. And some of it is just nonsense. Some of it doesn't benefit anybody. And it really is just kind of pushing papers around. So we need to take some of those regulations, look at what makes sense, what doesn't. I'm not saying let's turn this into the Wild West and do away with all regulations, but let's look at what makes sense, what's working for Missourians, and what's working to help small businesses focus on what they need to be focusing on, and that's making a good product, putting out a good service, whatever it is, whatever industry that they're in, and growing their business, which in turn will grow their jobs. As we all know, small businesses are the majority of the employers throughout this state. We need to help them, not hold them down. And then finally, none of this would be possible, and we wouldn't be able to be talking about job creation and employing people if we don't have a good education system. We want to make sure that the education system in our state is top notch, and frankly, it's not. We have two of the worst school districts almost in the country between Kansas City and St. Louis, and all we keep doing is throwing money at those school districts and hoping the problem gets better, and it's not. So we need to take a very serious look, take the politics out of it, do what everybody says they're doing, which is actually care about what the kids are learning, how the kids are learning, actually look at how that money's being spent, where things are doing, where things are happening right, where things are maybe needed some improvement, and take some good hard look at how we can make education better in this state, because without a good educated childhood and workforce, we're not going to have good educated leaders in the future.
Yeah, fantastic. Those are great answers. So just to kind of go back over, income tax, we just had our first, these things apparently are hard to come by, income tax cuts. It's been 100 years, and then the governor vetoed it. And so you had quite a few obstacles to overcome, but we overcame the veto, had a small, what you would probably call a small step forward, a baby step, and build on that momentum and continue maybe doing some further tax cuts, maybe for some businesses as well, corporate income tax cuts, and then kind of work on that regulatory burden that so many people talk about and so many small business owners have been talking to us about over the last few months. And then education, of course, focusing on education as well. Melanie, we appreciate your dedication to our state and your hard work to make it a better place and make it a great state. Melanie Abergiano with Missouri Club for Growth. And Melanie, thank you for taking the time to meet with us. We appreciate it.